Every day, millions of people stand at an intersection and wait for a light to change. And almost nobody questions how that light actually decided when to switch. Red, yellow, green. It feels like one universal system. It isn't. I noticed this myself. In Vietnam, traffic lights run on a fixed timer set by the local authority. The same countdown every cycle, no matter what's actually on the road. A few thousand kilometers away, other countries are doing something completely different. And most people never realize it, because you only ever experience the system you grew up with. Take Japan. Intersections there are engineered with a level of precision that borders on obsessive. Many crossings use what's called a pedestrian scramble, where every direction of car traffic stops at once, and pedestrians can cross diagonally, straight through the middle of the intersection, all at the same time. Some crossings also play distinct audio tones, so visually impaired pedestrians know exactly when it's safe to cross. And the specific tone can even indicate which direction is clear. Then there's the Netherlands, which quietly does something most countries don't even consider. Bike traffic gets its own dedicated signal phase, oftentimes to give cyclists a head start before cars are allowed to move at all. It's not an afterthought bolted onto the car system. In a lot of Dutch cities, the bike signal is treated as equally important as the car signal, because functionally, it is. Compare that to Australia and much of the US, where a large number of intersections are what's called actuated, meaning sensors embedded in the road or a button you have to physically press decide whether the light changes at all. Ever pressed a crosswalk button and had absolutely no idea if it actually did anything? At some intersections, it genuinely didn't. The signal was already going to change on a fixed cycle regardless, and the button existed mostly to make pedestrians feel like they had control. So why does the same three-colored light work so differently, depending entirely on which country you're standing in? Mostly, it comes down to cost and philosophy. Sensor-based adaptive systems are expensive to install and maintain across an entire city, which is why countries with older infrastructure or lower transport budgets often default to fixed timers instead, like Vietnam's system. It's cheaper, simpler, and honestly, still works fine on predictable traffic patterns. Countries that invest heavily in adaptive, sensor-driven systems are usually making a bet that responsive traffic, changing based on real-time conditions, is worth the higher upfront cost, because it reduces unnecessary waiting, and at scale, that adds up to a genuinely significant amount of saved time and fuel. And then there's culture, which might be the most interesting variable of all. In Germany, pedestrians are famously likely to wait for a red light, even on a completely empty street with no cars in sight. That's not really about the light itself. It's about a strong cultural expectation that rules apply even when nobody's enforcing them or watching. In other countries, that same empty street means people cross immediately because the social contract around rule following is simply different. So, the light itself is just a light. What it actually represents changes completely depending on where you're standing, which is kind of the pattern that shows up everywhere once you start looking for it. The most mundane, background parts of daily life, the parts you never question because you assume they're universal, are usually the ones quietly shaped by decisions you've never seen and choices you were never part of. Next time you're standing at a crossing waiting for the light to change, you're not just waiting on a machine. You're standing inside somebody else's decision about how much a few extra seconds of your time was worth.